Alright, welcome back everyone to the FX Open Invitational Series. I am Unstable, joined by Railcoon for this game. And we are going to have game number 2 of Squirtle versus Violet. Squirtle currently up 1-0 in this series. We are going to go on to Daybreak to see if Violet can bring it back and even up the score. So, jumping straight into it, we have Violet up here at the top right-hand corner as our yellow Zerg. And then down here at the bottom left, we have Squirtle as our red Protoss. So Squirtle playing pretty dominantly in that last game. However, Violet is someone who's shown time and time again that he can really just pull something out of a hat and bring home a win if he needs to. So, let's see if he can do that this time. Railcoon, what do you think?
Well, I don't know what happened last game, so I'm just gonna have to take your word for the fact that Squirtle played really well. I mean, Squirtle is a good player. He's one of those players that seems to do better in the leagues where there's not much preparation going on. So group stages, or like GSTL type stuff, he seems to do a little bit better, but when somebody has more time to prepare for him, he doesn't do as well. So wouldn't be surprised if he actually does quite well in this format, just because of, at least to begin with, because players have more than one player to have to deal with.
Some nice progress going on here by Squirtle at the moment. Has forced Violet to put down the pull first, which is pretty common on this map. You don't want to deal with a pylon blocked hatchery and then have your pull late regardless. But looking back here for Squirtle, he's got banking up 400 minerals, so we are going to see a Nexus first come out from him.
Yeah, and this is interesting because you see some players when they go for the probe block don't like to go for the Nexus first because you're forcing an early pull then doing a Nexus first. It is a little bit map dependent. Daybreak is rather long rush distance, so he's probably just not worried about it. It's going to take the Zerglings long enough to get over there, that he's confident he can defend it. But it is a consideration on some of the smaller maps if you're doing those two things at the same time. It doesn't always quite make sense. Did that miss? No, that is still blocking, just barely.
Just barely blocking it, yeah. He did lose that probe though, so it really didn't want that to happen. But he is going to take this third base here for Violet. His Zerglings are actually running straight across the map now, as he has seen that there's no cannon in place just yet. Now this is going to be cutting it quite close here for Squirtle actually, because these Zerglings might get here just before this cannon finishes up to squeeze one or two into the main base.
He has Watchtower though, so he should be able to pull some probes and block the ramp if that is completely necessary. So CCs are on the way, probe comes back, here comes some more probes off the mineral line. He's trying to wall this off. He does have it walled with a probe here, buy some time, and hopefully get this cannon up. Dropping another pylon, but he doesn't quite get it down, lets the Zerglings through. Might have been better to maybe just try and wall the ramp there. It's tough to say. He had the right idea, but trying to place the pylon there, I think, was just trying to cut his losses too much, getting a little greedy.
Well, he did have enough money for a second pylon, but he decided to try and do it with the probes. Now it's come back to haunt him. So a nice little advantage there for Violet. He's going to have the scouting of that main base all day long. He's got his third hatchery on the way now as well, starting to transfer some drones. So at the same time, he doesn't have any gas. Very standard to not have gas at this point. He's already got his queen down here at his third. His first one, he would have walked it down there or during that time.
Oh, he's got two more probes in the meantime. A third one might go down. The Zergling just needs one more hit, but it will actually die before it can get there. So that was actually a pretty nice job getting a couple more Zerglings. Usually it's pretty difficult if the Protoss player's on top of their micro. But Squirtle just was kind of attack moving. He wasn't paying too much attention to it. So you can see a total of 5 probes went down to that little bit of a Zergling run by. Not a bad return for that investment, and his third hatchery at his natural is going to be finishing up in just a second with gas on the way as well. So he's going to be transitioning probably straight into a layer, I would assume. Just try and get that tech moving.
That's quite possible. That's very true. He's got his overlords positioned nicely to come in and see what kind of tech we're going to see as a follow-up here from Squirtle. And a lot of we've seen actually quite a few Stargate players in the Invitational as well. So it's going to be a mix and match. Anything that comes out, I'm pretty much guaranteed that Violet is actually going to get a scout on it. However, he's starting to drone very hard. He's starting to move his creep spread now. And he has taken the worker lead now, 36 to 34. One Stalker is out on the map. He's actually moving across the map here at the moment to try and see what else is going on for Violet in his main base. But he is going to be stopped by these two Zerglings. Has to walk into the Watchtower. And of course, Violet realizes there's no way he can fight that. He's going to back off.
Yeah,
But
Violet is droning extremely hard right now. Actually delaying the layer just to pump out more and more and more drones. Layer has started, he follows that up immediately with a Rocheborn. Stalker has come across to harass things, sees that third base is up and running already, and also drops an evolution chamber with 2 more gas geysers down at the third, hoping that maybe Squirtle won't scout that and think that he's still running on 2 gas for a while. It'll be interesting to see how well that works out for him, but that is a really fast layer, skipping Zergling speed altogether like I thought he might do. And we'll see how aggressive he gets, because once the layer and the Rocheborn finish and he gets those Roach upgrades going, he's already going to have a ton of drones, because those quick 3 hatches, he's at 62 already. Like, he's powering quite hard here in the early game.
yeah, and we do see a robotics facility, 3 gateways, and a Twilight Council coming out now from Squirtle. So he will have a little bit of time before anything actually comes out to attack him. So this is going to work well into Violet's favor, because he's already at that drone count that he really wants to have. He's got the upgrades on the way now as well. We do see a macro hatch in the main. And did we... Only 1 Evo chamber though, so he's not going for those double upgrades, just going for the 1. And because he's got those extra gas now, he will be able to get all of these upgrades at once. Now, he has not seen this Twilight Council or robotics facility yet. He's seen the gateways in the main. There's 2 more on the way now as well. So he knows that there's some kind of gateway push coming out. However, he doesn't know exactly which one. And that's why he's just going for the standard Roach army now. He's got 14 on the way. This is going to pretty much shut down anything that Squirtle wants to push out with. He's got 6 sentries, 1 Stalker coming out here. But the Roach numbers for Violet is going to be too much as soon as he gets over here. And now he has been scouted as well.
Yeah, I like the fact that he delayed the Zergling speed for quite a while as well. He knew that Squirtle went for a really fast expansion and that any of these attack timings would be a little bit slower. So he just delayed that 100 gas, put a lot of other things first. And by the time Squirtle gets over here, Zergling speed's going to be done anyway. I know that was something that a lot of players are trying to figure out, like how to delay Zergling speed effectively. We're having a lot of trouble with, but Violet did a good job of doing it in this game. Was able to throw that 100 gas into a lot of other things, and he's still pumping out quite a few roaches. So there is a possibility that if Squirtle gets a little too over-aggressive here, his army could just get crushed and then get swept up by a counterattack.
Well, we do see Violet actually scouting the third base now for Squirtle. He's sending a few units around to hit that because he sees this army competition of Squirtles down here, and he can pretty much crush through that with his current army right now. We do have +2 on the way now for Squirtle, but it looks like Violet's not going to wait. Cannot run up that ramp because of the amount of force fields we have here, though. And here come the Roaches into the third base. There's only 1 Zealot and 1 Cannon there, forcing Squirtle to completely pull back. And he's actually going to catch him off guard with he's bringing the rest of his forces around here to the north. He is going to likely force a cancel on this Nexus. Or if he doesn't force a cancel, he's going to let it finish. But he is going to get a... Oh, nicely done by Squirtle, actually force fielding the rest of that army off. Blink is done now by Squirtle, but the reinforcements are coming in here. It needs to be very careful as the Roaches... Oh, there's a little bit of left off, but the Roaches are actually targeting down sentries now. Only 4 sentries left, gonna be 3. Not much energy left at all.
Is in really good position this entire fight. Hasn't taken a single Roach shot. He is going to get in really close and be able to power it down now. But that Immortal did a lot of damage up until there. He's been able to keep the Immortal alive a little bit longer. He might have been able to do better, but these Roaches are powering through the Stalkers. But the Zealot's getting in there quite nicely, and there's the problem. He doesn't have an Observer with his army. Nice burrow. That's going to force Squirtle away from here, and that might be enough to allow more reinforcements to come in and possibly take out this Nexus.
Yeah, we do have more Zerglings coming in from behind as well, and now the Immortal is going to be caught because he has to blink those Stalkers away, and instantly the Zerglings get us around on that Immortal. But he doesn't have to fight all the way to this cannon wall. He can back off if he wants to, but he wants to take those out. Realizing his mistake there a little bit later, and the more reinforcements coming in, that third Nexus is going to go down. More Zealots being warped in here as well, and now Violet is cornered. He needs to back off and save his losses here because he has gotten a significant lead now. He's still 30 supply up. He's actually transferred into a Spire as well during all of this. +3 is on the way for Squirtle now as well, but Squirtle has an Observer in the main base, has seen the Spire transition.
Yeah, this is just a problem of the really, really huge drone count early on and not getting punished for it. Violet's economy is just completely roaring right now. Squirtle is having a hard time dealing with it. if he had scouted out the fact that he placed his natural hatchery at the third instead, that's generally something the Protoss wants to pressure because it's so far away it's difficult to defend. And then that didn't get pressured, and he just droned really hard and still no pressure. And this is generally just what happens. It's not over yet, but it is going to be very difficult for Squirtle at this point. And he might just be having to hope that Violet makes a mistake at this point as well, because he can't afford to really make Phoenixes to really deal with the Mutalisks. So he's having to warp in a few more sentries, maybe hope for some Guardian Shields. But even then, he's only got with a 1 Immortal, so he's going to have a hard time dealing with the Roaches at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. Here come the Mutas, though. There is a quiet 15 in total. We do have a group of Stalkers here and 1 cannon, but I don't think there's going to be enough Stalkers there to actually deal with this. Violet actually coming to the north as well. All over the place in this game. It's really good to see. We got more Stalkers being warped in, and that should be enough to force Violet to back off. However, he is taking the watchtower in the middle of the map now. And Squirtle really on the back foot. He's 50 supply down. There's a Baneling nest on the way for Violet now as well. He's got his 4th base up and running.
He's forcing out even more drones as well. Something we've been seeing a lot more of recently here, the Zerg players pushing their drone count up even higher in the mid game than you're used to seeing. He's going to be well over 90 when all of those drones finish, and that's going to give him ridiculous economy. He's going to be able to go for that continuous reinforcement. Mutalisk flying into the 3rd base, doing quite a bit of damage actually, taking out one of the cannons and quite a few probes before Squirtle can get over there. Violet is maxed, so once these Mutalisks pop out, we're just going to see the constant waves of aggression off this 4 base and I will soon be 5 base and 6 hatcheries.
Well, Violet still does have this pretty much tier 2 army here. He's going to have to change it up shortly, but he is going to go in and attack now. Going to lose quite a few Zerglings to these force fields by Squirtle. Storm is going to be on the field shortly as the Templar Archives has been started. Violet now getting his 5th base as well. With the Banelings on the way and Baneling speed, he should be able to clear through a lot of this army quite nicely. However, the longer he waits, the more back into this Squirtle is going to get, because once Storm comes out, it's going to be huge. He's going for the counter, the flank attack here. Not enough Stalkers to deal with this Muta count in the main, as he is coming in at that 3rd as well, but there's enough there to stop that. And all these Mutas chasing down the Stalkers really nicely here by Violet, and he's forced him out. He's actually going to get that Templar Archives. That is huge for him, delaying Storm as long as he possibly can.
Yeah, these Stalkers just cannot possibly deal with these Mutalisks. Even with the +3 upgrades, they really need some Guardian Shields to stop it. With that many Mutalisks, he could just focus down the sentries and be really difficult for him to do anything about it. +3 Stalkers are doing a good amount of damage, but there's just so many Mutas. And now without the Stalker support in his army, the ground army for Violet is going to have a field day. So this is a really difficult position for Squirtle. He's trying to decide if he wants to split up his army and go for the counterattack. He's doing it right now, but he is missing quite a large force as he's having to warp in back home to try and stop the Mutalisks. Violet hasn't actually gone to crush this army yet because he's waiting for more Banelings. They have now finished up, and he's going to swing around trying to hit this from a pretty good angle. Nice force field. The Mutalisks have come back to support this as well. Mutalisks taking a lot of damage, and Squirtle able to back off with some really good force fields and completely deflect that attack, but wasn't able to take down the hatchery, unfortunately enough for him.
Well, we've got another Templar Archives now made in the main, but he lost a lot of probes. They're looking here, 34 probes lost in total. Violet now coming back again. The Immortal's held at the front, but he doesn't want to go up that ramp and get bottlenecked, especially with this unit composition that he has. He doesn't have as many mutas as before, only 12 now. However, he's going straight to Hive, getting a 2nd Spire to go into that Greater Spire, as well as getting upgrades, which is becoming more and more common. And here we go, there is only 1 sentry. Doesn't have enough energy to stop this. It does, just barely does, yes. Oh, sorry, there was a 2nd sentry there as well. However, Squirtle's still stuck on 3 bases. Look at the bank here for Violet. He's just getting even further and further ahead. There's nothing Squirtle can really do about it. He does have...
I like what Violet's doing right now. He's remaxing on Zerglings, running into Squirtle's army, and then backing off right as he throws down the force fields. And the force fields are only taking out Zerglings. And he's really relying on these force fields right now not to get completely blown up by the Banelings. So he's trading really cheap units for force field energy, which is really effective, and making Squirtle extremely nervous. Because if this continues to happen, there is a chance that he could just get completely steamrolled by the army if he runs out of force fields.
Yeah, absolutely. Alrighty, so we do have Mutas coming in again. Oh, they're just out of range of that cannon. They're going to try and get this Templar Archives yet again. Looks like he's going to sacrifice some Mutas. No, does back off. Keep in mind, Storms hasn't even been started researching yet. Squirtle is severely lacking in money, whereas Violet is the complete opposite. And he's now maxed out yet again. He's going to have a lot of Broodlords on the field shortly. And
yeah, he's seen a lot of Zerglings and Banelings and Mutas, so he's not even going for Storm. He's just making the Archons, which is a decent choice. The Archon's pretty good at soaking up and killing a lot of Banelings at the same time, but the problem is the Broodlords are now on the way. 7 Corruptors, +2 upgrades, Greater Spire, and he's also going for Neural Parasite. So I guess he's anticipating a Mothership, but I don't think he realizes how much the economy of Squirtle is hurting right now.
yeah, we do have 7 Corruptors on the way. They're going to be Broodlords very shortly. We've got Neural Parasite on the way as well. There's just so many Spine Crawlers. I think Squirtle's realizing this is his last chance to go for it. Even if his chances are low, he has to do it. And before the Broodlords come out as well, he's just... he's hoping that Violet actually comes at him into a nice concave, but that's not going to happen. We do have some nice Fungals coming down now for that. And blinking forward straight into Spine Crawlers. Oh, I'm not sure if that was a good idea, Squirtle. And here comes Violet with everything coming into the army. But the Archon's doing a nice bit of damage here. The Spine Crawlers are cleaning things up. But look at this. 24 Roaches in production now for Violet. There's just so much stuff. Everything really whittled down now for Squirtle. And I don't think he's going to make it through these Spine Crawlers, let alone the army reinforcements that are going to come out.
Yeah, I think he's trying to blink forward to focus the Infestors, but he got some good Fungals off, trapping units within the Spine Crawler range, which is one of the really big parts. The Broodlords are about to finish now, too. I think he saw those as well, and now the Roaches are popping out. There's the GG. Violet will match up the series.
Yep, congratulations to Violet. Let's go into game number 3 for the first set of day 2. We'll be right back. Stay with us. After this quick commercial break, we'll go into game 3.